ready. We are going to ask a trivia question. So we've got a couple ladies in the studio with us. They're getting set. We're going to get to that. Does either of you want to read the trivia question?
Sure.
Absolutely. Okay. So the 9 a.m., the first question there. If you think you know this, call 785-621-4110. If you get it right and you're the first person to get it right, we'll put you in a drawing for a gift certificate to Messenger, traditional Catholic books and gifts. All right, go.
During which war was St. Maximilian Kolbe martyred? A, the Korean War. B, the Polish civil conflict. C, World War II. Or D, the Austrian-Czech War.
Oh, wow. Could you read it one more time?
Sure. During which war was St. Maximilian Kolbe martyred? A, the Korean War. B, the Polish civil conflict. C, World War II. Or D, the Austrian-Czech War.
Call 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. That is a wonderful question. All right. We are in here with Jeree Hughbanks and Megan Robl. So, ladies, how are we doing today?
Good. Great. We had a nice early morning drive in from Salina.
Oh, fantastic. So you weren't at the Hayes office. You were
not yet. Well, that's our next stop today.
Okay. Do both of you live around here? I guess maybe it's in your bio here, but
no. Well, I'm originally from Grainfield out in western Kansas.
Yep.
So went to college here in Hayes. So I am familiar with Hayes and have lots of family here, but we're both in Salina.
And I'm Salina born and raised. So but we are here a lot because our offices are out here. So
I was gonna say, when we came to that little meet and greet at Catholic Charities, I know that you guys were there. And so thank you for that. Well, let's go ahead and get you introduced then, because people are probably like, okay, well, who are we talking to? So I sometimes get ahead of myself. Megan Robl serves as the executive director and has been with the agency for 5 years. And this agency we're talking about is Catholic Charities. A Salina native with a background in communications and nonprofit leadership, she oversees the mission of Catholic Charities across all 31 counties of the Salina Diocese. That is awesome. Joining her is communications manager Jeree Hughbanks, who has been with Catholic Charities for 2 years. Originally from Grainfield, as she said, she helps share the stories and impact of the organization's work through the region. Together, Megan and Jeree represent a team that serves more than 8,000 people each year through offices in Salina, Hayes, and Manhattan, as well as outreach vans that travel monthly to 29 rural communities to bring food, hygiene items, diapers, emergency assistance, pregnancy support, counseling, and hope to families in need. That is awesome. Thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you. And before we go any further, it's Jeree, and she won't be the one to say that. So
thank you.
Just wanted to let you know.
I taught at TMP for 10 years.
That's right.
And I once had this girl. I really thought that her name was one thing. And I said it for a whole year until finally one of the other girls in the class said, Mr. Morenzo, that's not her. I'm like, what do you mean? Yes, it is. That's it. No, and I said, you've gone a whole year
without. I know.
Without telling me.
She won't say anything, but I will. Her name's Jeree, so. So thank you for allowing me.
So is there a long E like Jeree, or is it Jeree?
Jeree.
Jeree.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. The long E. All
Yeah,
right.
long
Good.
E.
All right. I'm writing that down. Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That makes it so much better, especially if there's other people out there that know you. Now they're not like, come on, guy. Get it together.
Well, I've got it all my life, So, but it's
we've talked about that.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. Let's jump right into it then. So what is it that brought both of you to Catholic Charities in the first place?
Sure. Well, I would start by saying the Holy Spirit, because I never imagined that I would be in this role right now, but I was drawn to this role. Being from Salina and growing up in this diocese, I always knew that I wanted to do something that I gave back and helped support people in need in our community. And I grew up in a great family who taught us very much about giving back. So we would adopt families through Catholic Charities at Christmas time and provide Christmas gifts, or we'd go shopping for groceries and donate them to our local food bank. So for me, when this opportunity came up to serve not only people in need, but incorporating that with our faith and our local region. It was something that I felt the Holy Spirit saying, hey, I think you should do this. And I said, I'm scared, but here we are. And it's going very well.
Wow. Can you give us a little bit more background, or are you willing to? You don't have to if you
Sure,
don't want
yeah.
to. Like, what did the process actually look like? What were you doing?
Sure, yeah.
Did you feel a tugging? You know, like, yeah.
So many people out there might know Father Keith Weber, and he and I were great friends I mean, we still are, but at the time, and he had reached out to me on multiple occasions. I was working at the Greater Salina Community Foundation as the marketing director, and I got an email from Father Keith multiple times saying, hey, we have this job or we have that job at the diocese. And I just really wasn't interested in making a change. But then I was contacted by Father Keith again and Kim Holting, the director of HR for the diocese. And it was time. I said, okay, I'll sit down and visit with you about Catholic Charities. But I kind of laughed and said, there's no way I'm going to do this job. I'll just sit down and talk about it as a polite thing to do. And I explicitly remember calling my mom and saying, they want me to come talk to them about Catholic Charities, and how sweet of them. And so then I went in, and 2 hours later it came out, and I was like, oh no, I think I actually am interested in doing this. So I came back and continued those conversations and met with Bishop Vinke. But it was a true discernment process. And I just actually talked to one of our other team members the other day about this, because I was scared out of my mind. My stomach hurt the days leading up to my first day, but I knew I had to do it. And I just remember this visual in my mind of this is what I see, a big forest of trees and just like this lighted path just opening up, because the path just opened and stayed open. And so I felt like I had to come, but I didn't know why. And I felt really unqualified. And so I really leaned into God doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. And that has really carried us through these past 5 years. And it's been a very challenging, personal journey. But as we talk about a lot, it has, deepened my faith in more ways than I ever realized. So now I'm working through, as we work through other challenges at Catholic Charities or on a personal level, I realize the things that are coming out of my mouth, how much this role and just saying yes has transformed me as a person, and how the role that my faith plays in my life. I thought I had a strong faith, but it's grown.
Wow. And Jeree?
Yeah. So I came to Catholic Charities. I just wanted to be able to help people, like I was in some other jobs where I was just like, didn't feel like I had, what was my purpose? What was my meaning for like the work? I didn't know if it really mattered. And now I was just like, I feel like this matters, like what I'm doing really, really matters now, and helping those people in need. And so that, Megan actually reached out to me, and I'll never forget that day. And it was kind of one of those things too, as a God thing, where it was like, I just started this other job like a year ago, and why am I going to jump to another job? Like, is this what I'm supposed to do? And so, a lot of prayers to be like, is this what you're calling me to do, God, or what? And so, I met with Megan, and it just seemed, I just thought the mission just really spoke to me. So
fantastic. Yeah. So I want to break in really quickly to congratulate Emily Reif. So Emily, her husband and her donated here this last hour, but she also called in and won the trivia question. So Emily, the question there that she got right was, during which war was St. Maximilian Kolbe martyred? And the correct answer there is World War II. Fantastic. Wow. Nice job on that, Emily. We will get you put in that drawing for a gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts at the 6 o'clock hour today. If you're listening to us and hearing our voice, 1, please pray for us and please pray for this mission. 2, please consider donating at 785-621-4110, or you can also donate at dvmercy.com. That's 785-621-4110. We are having wonderful conversations today, and we're talking about shining a light in the darkness. Right now, we're talking with Megan Robl and Jeree Hughbanks, and we're talking about their work with Catholic Charities. So let's jump right back into that then. So another good question then. 1, I think people often misunderstand Catholic social teaching. Catholics aren't social justice warriors, not in the sense that like our society, you know, like we're not keyboard warriors. We're not jumping on every new bandwagon and being, you know, gaslighting and, oh, look how awesome I am. You should be awesome too. You know, like, so that's the thing, that first, if we understand that, and we're like, you know, Catholic social teaching is about upholding the common good, which means upholding every person to let them know they have dignity as a child of God. So that's why your work is so beautiful. So in that work, then, how do you integrate Catholic social teaching into your leadership, decision making, and everything that goes into running Catholic Charities?
So that this is a huge question, but the biggest, first, most important answer is it is everything that we do. Like you mentioned, the human dignity is the reason we exist, and that is the foundational fabric of our organization. So we work with all people. You don't have to be Catholic to receive services. That's a big misconception. You don't have to be Catholic to work with us, but you have to agree that all humans have dignity, and that is the foundation of our mission. So to keep that at the center, I think it's important to note we begin everything we do with prayer every morning at 8:30. Jeree and I missed it this morning because you're on the road, but our team in Salina, our admin team, gathers at 8:30 and we pray together. So we say the St. Michael prayer. We say, a prayer to St. Joseph, and what's the Mary. The Memorare. We started that with the Jubilee year. And so we recite those together every morning, and that just keeps us really grounded and keeps us in tune with the Holy Spirit and what we're supposed to be doing. So like you said, the life and dignity of every human person is our foundation. So anyone that comes in, first and foremost, should leave feeling like a valued child of God. We don't ever preach to people about our faith. We just believe that by living it truly, whether somebody shares our same faith belief or not, they might have a small glimpse into feeling God's love for them. So we design all of our programs and services and office locations to honor that. You mentioned the Hayes office here. That was a huge upgrade for us. And even in the design of that space, we wanted the first thing people to see, to feel welcoming and bright, and a place that just brings light into their life when they might be struggling. So we're always thinking about that, and always thinking about that sense of community. And this is where Jeree's job really comes into play. She does all of our website, social media, storytelling, newsletters, but she really does a great job of integrating the dignity of the people that we serve and giving them a voice, so that our supporters and the people that are contributing feel like they can also see that full loop of who they're helping and how we all belong and fit together, if that makes sense. And the other piece of that building community is the outreach program. So we serve 31 counties. And when I came to Catholic Charities, Bishop Vinke's dream was that we would really permeate all 31 counties of our diocese, which is 26,000 square miles. It's huge, but our team does not falter, and they have been very excited to grow that. We've grown from 20 outreach stops monthly to 29 over the last 5 years. And again, our goal with that is, yes, people can come to us, but if you're isolated and alone and feeling like you have this monumental struggle that you're facing, it really helps build that sense of community and enhance that sense of community when we come to them. And so, our staff looks forward to seeing they call them their people every month, and catching up and hearing about what's going on in their lives. We also see that sense of community in our Catholic thrift stores. We have one here in Salina, here in Hayes, and also one in Salina. And one thing that's really come to light for me that I never realized is the number of people that will come in on a daily basis, a weekly basis, just to share what's going on in their lives with the staff and the volunteers, because our store is always there and they feel welcomed and loved when they come in. They may not even be there to buy anything, but just to come in and share updates on their life. We have one gentleman who came and shared with our thrift store manager about a very serious medical diagnosis that he had just received. And she was so honored because he didn't have anyone else to tell, but he wanted someone to know.
Yeah.
And so our thrift store manager was the person that he chose to share that with. So building that sense of community and belonging through whatever it is that we're doing, to make sure that people really feel welcome and just reminded that they belong somewhere.
Absolutely. And Jeree,
Yeah.
what is your involvement in that then look like?
Yeah. So we are always like, we want to hear the success stories, or, anybody that can come into our office that we've helped. And so I love to hear those stories, one that sticks out when Megan mentioned about the adoptive family that they've helped in the past. So that's our Adopt a Family for Christmas program. And a couple of years ago, we had a single mom of two, Amanda, who came in and she just wanted to be able to provide a Christmas for her family. And she couldn't, she didn't have the means to do that. Well, so she signed up for our Adopt a Family program and she put in there, like gift ideas for the kids, shoes, clothes, and some toys,
Yeah.
and their sponsors like that adopted them just went above and beyond, but she didn't write anything down for herself. And she's just like, it's for the kids, and I was, that, as a mom, that was just kind of like, yeah, it's for the kids. But we're like, put something down, put something down. She's like, I don't even know what you put down, but so she put cleaning supplies down. And when she came and picked up the gifts, she was moved to tears because she got I think it was almost like a year's supply of cleaning supplies.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that meant so much to her. And I remember like when she was telling me about that, she was again, moved to tears. And she just was so grateful for just like that, the generosity of people that they're just willing to give, to people, things that matter to them,
Wow, that is so beautiful because you think about cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Most people don't really appreciate. Oh, great, thanks. You got.
Yeah.
What are you trying to hint at here?
Yeah.
Something you don't buy your wife for.
Mhm. Yes,
Exactly.
But this lady is like, that would move because all she wanted to do was provide a clean house for her kids. Like,
Yeah.
those are things that a lot of us just take for granted, and what a beautiful story. Are there other stories that you guys can share with us of, in providing these services? Because you don't always hear the stories, but I think it's really good for us when we do, because the impact they make on these people's lives. I mean, it lifts them up.
So we have a favorite story we were talking about on the way here about a gentleman named Michael. And some people may have heard this one before, but it is probably one of our most powerful. So in 2022, Michael came into our Salina office and worked with our emergency assistance coordinator, Melissa. And side note, we always joke, Melissa sometimes gets called Sister Melissa because people think that she's a nun working at she's not. She's a mom of like 5 kids, but she is I think like very much a saint in the work that she does.
She's amazing.
But Melissa met Michael, and we have permission to share Michael's story. Michael's very proud of his progress, but Michael was using drugs. He was homeless, and as Melissa has shared, he wasn't a very nice person, and he wasn't actually very nice to her that first time that they met. And she basically said, okay, listen, you need help. And she always says she felt this tug, which we all know is the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
She said, I felt this tug that just says, this guy, he needs help and you're going to help him. But Melissa's also the queen of tough love. So she doesn't let people walk all over her, which when people are struggling, that's what they need. They need honest and truth. And so she basically looked him square in the eyes and said, when you're ready to change, you come back and we're going to like figure this out. But you need to come back when you're ready to do that. So she gave him food. He didn't have anywhere to live. So she sent him to the rescue mission in Salina. And she didn't hear from him again for a while.
Yeah.
And then I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was several months later. He came back and he looked at her. He said, I'm ready.
Yep.
So they sat down and talked about where he was living, what his job situation was. And she didn't do the work for him. That's a huge part of human dignity, is empowering people to do things for themselves. But she said, hey, why don't you go talk to this place about a job, this place about a place to live? And he kept showing up. He kept doing the work. And then he kept coming back to Melissa and saying, okay, now what do you think I should do? And one of his barriers was he didn't have his birth certificate. Is that right?
Birth certificate and license.
And his driver's license.
Holy cow.
So Melissa worked with a law office that we are close partners with, and they helped him work through those things. And so it wasn't this was 3 years ago this process started. Just recently, within the last 6 months, he finally got some of those documents.
Oh my goodness.
But Michael now, through the work of some of our community partners, is sober. He's been sober for 2 years. He has his own place to live. He has a regular job. And he is thriving, and we'll get to his real thriving in a moment. But again, the pieces that Melissa provided on that journey, again, through Catholic Charities, a year and a half ago, I was in the front office, and she said, Megan, we need a bike. And I'm like, okay, for what? And Jeree was actually out on maternity leave. And I'm like, okay, she's like, I got a guy and he needs a bike. He's driving from the south, or walking from the south end of town to the north end of town after work. And sometimes it's late, and he just needs a bike to get home because the buses aren't running. So I jumped on our Facebook page and said, hey, we need a bike. Okay. Within an hour, someone showed up with a bike. Again, the Holy Spirit. So that person hadn't even seen the Facebook post. They were just cleaning out their garage and happened to come to Catholic Charities and said, hey, do you guys need a bike? And we're like, wow, that was fast. So myself and another colleague went to go pick up the bike and aired up the tires, shined it up a bit, and Melissa delivered it to Michael the next day. And we have that on video, and he was just flabbergasted with gratitude. He just couldn't believe someone would do that for him. But again, fast forward, Michael was one of our featured speakers at our recent Green Tie celebration, which is our big celebration of the community event of Catholic Charities. And we raise a lot of money there. And he shared his story on a video that we showed. And part of the event is asking everybody to pass a sheet around and put a donation down. And Melissa told Michael, hey, you don't have to do that. We didn't invite you to donate money. We're here to just hear your story. And Michael's like, nope, I got $10. I'm going to write down $10. So God bless him. He did. And he had the time of his life that night. He told Melissa he'd never been treated so well, coming from homelessness. You know, a lot of homeless individuals experience people not even looking them in the eye because they're scared. And we talk about human dignity. This is my soapbox. The first thing to do to take care of people is look at them, acknowledge their presence, learn their name, have a conversation. But Michael really was at this big fancy dinner, and he just had the time of his life and was treated with so much love and respect. So the event ended, and Monday he came in to talk to Melissa about something, and she said he didn't bring up the $10. I didn't mention the $10. Didn't want to make him feel guilty. But then he came back the next day, and she told us, Michael, what are you doing here? Like, you were just here yesterday. He goes, well, I forgot something, and here's my $10. And so when we think about success stories, Michael was so excited to be able to give back. And it's kind of like the women with the two coins in the church. Michael gave what he had, and I think that $10 is worth more than, no offense to any of our amazing supporters, but that $10 is worth more than many of like the large donations we receive, because he wanted to do it, and he probably could use that money for something else. But he is always so proud. Jeree, you've seen him since the Green Tie celebration, and I know you've had a chance to catch up with him a little bit.
He is doing so well. You know, like he actually just recently fell, and so he was out of work for a little bit, but they worked with him as he came back, and he's just like, rest, don't push it too hard, or you're going to hurt yourself and be out of work some more, you know. And so he's like, I've got to listen to him, you know. And I was just like, yes, trust the process. You've done it, you know, like you've worked through this, and this is just a little roadblock, and you're going to bounce back from this, you know? And so, and he has, and he's back at work, and he's not able to lift the stuff like he used to, but he's working through it. And he's just so proud of where he's came from. And I'll never forget, like, he moved me to tears just watching him tell his story. Like when he was watching himself in the video, he was crying because, and he's just like, I did that, I made it, like I still got a lot of work to do, but I am working on it and I've definitely changed, and it's just amazing to see how, like, I get choked up talking about it because he's
awesome.
Yeah.
You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. We're here with Jeree, thank you, Hughbanks and Megan Robl, and they are with Catholic Charities. They're talking about meeting needs with dignity. We're having an amazing conversation, and so please stay tuned. But also, please consider donating at 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. Let's keep using up those matching funds. I want to get right back into this because this has been such a great conversation. And so as you guys have been sharing some of those stories, maybe also we could talk about, as you're going around to different communities, as people are coming in, obviously everybody has different needs, but are there some things that you really see, maybe it goes in ebbs and flows, or maybe there are things that you're like, okay, this is what is really needed at this time?
So we see, again, the people that we're serving, we focus on the most vulnerable. So when we think about needs, one of our biggest challenges that we always talk about is there's so much need and so many people who need help. But basically what we're focused on is the people, again, in situations like Michael's, who are truly on the edge, and it's truly a matter of survival in some cases. If you don't have a place to live, or food to eat, or a safe place to sleep. So we see, as we look around our country right now, you hear about housing issues, mental health issues, addiction, pro-life causes, all those things. So the needs that we really see are just continue to be those basic human needs. And I think a good recent example of this is, we always say we are not a political organization, we are humanitarian, but the people that we serve are impacted by political decisions that are made. And so when the SNAP benefits were paused because of the federal government shutdown, it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, like, people need food, and they're relying on those resources that have all of a sudden been immediately removed. So we saw a huge spike in food. Food distribution that we provide. But on top of that, people are just trying to stretch their limited budgets to keep up with the cost of living. So we have also seen a huge spike in emergency financial assistance to make sure that those bills are staying paid, so that, it's not just about the water getting shut off, but if you don't have running water, that can lead to bigger issues in eviction because you're not able to take care of the home. So all of those basic things, financial and housing assistance, we do that. That's kind of one of the things we've always done, but we see it just continue to grow. Same thing with personal care, food boxes, diapers are huge. So diaper need is a huge one. Families that have young children in diapers, the cost just continues to go up, and parents will be forced. I mean, we don't just say this to make people feel bad. Parents will leave their child in a wet diaper or a soiled diaper longer than they should just to save money, which then leads to health issues, which, again, you just see how the process spirals. So we do a lot of diapers and wipe distribution, household cleaning supplies, personal hygiene kits. For the ladies out there, imagine going through your time of the month without the proper hygiene supplies. That's also a dignity issue, because then you can't go to work or you don't feel clean and good about yourself. So those things are always there. And I think as we see just cost of living and people have a harder time keeping up, even if they are working, we in the past quarter have seen increases in new families, 23% increase in new families in the last quarter receiving those food boxes, hygiene kits, diapers, all of that. And then truly even the pregnancy support. So obviously as Catholics, as a Catholic organization, we're very pro-life, but that's really making sure that moms are supported in the choice to choose to have their baby, and then after the baby is born. So it's not just preventing that the abortion, but it's really about making sure that mom has that support system in place. And so again, since July, 67 new moms have enrolled in our pregnancy program.
Wow.
And traditionally, we serve about 100 new moms in a 12-month period.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
we're seeing, I mean, our team is busy, and we see the support going out. Moms in that program can receive financial support. They can receive, they all do receive a big diaper bag full of supplies, baby clothes, all of that. They receive that emotional support throughout their pregnancy, diapers. We stay with them up to 6 months after the baby is born. And then obviously, if they need it, our other supports are available for them. So the diaper program, that food support, things like that. So really, we think about pregnant moms who are low income and dealing with all this regular stressors of keeping up. So we really just want to be there for them. The other big one is mental health. And there is a shortage of mental health providers available in our country.
Mm-hmm.
We feel that as an organization. We have 2 part-time licensed therapists. But for us, again, thinking about the most vulnerable populations, we really focus on serving the folks that can't afford counseling or maybe don't have insurance to help pay for that. So we have a sliding fee scale. And if someone truly can't pay, we're not going to charge them for those services. But looking at that mental health piece and how when you're carrying all these financial burdens or parenting burdens, and you feel like you're doing it alone, sometimes you just really need to sit down and talk to someone who's beyond the level of our front desk staff, who I would also say they are a great support system for people, but that licensed counseling can really, really guide people. And on the flip side, people who might be dealing with a major life crisis, a health issue, a death in the family.
Yep.
If you don't get your emotional health in check, that can lead to a financial problem because you're not making sound decisions because you're just not in a place to do that. So it's all interconnected, but really focusing on the physical needs, the mental needs, the spiritual needs of people. And then of course, I mean, this is a long answer, but there's a lot of needs that we see. In some of our communities, homelessness is huge, addiction, some of those specialized things that we don't have the capacity to really solve or support in the way that it needs support. But we have amazing partnerships across our diocese with the organizations that focus on those things. So we are very comfortable, like in Michael's story, giving him what we can and then saying, okay, these are our friends over here at the homeless shelter. They will give you a place to stay and they will welcome him in with open arms. So really making sure we have a good network of resources so that we can make sure people know what's available to them.
Wow, thank you. You are listening to Jeree Hughbanks and Megan Robl, and they're from Catholic Charities. We're having a great conversation here talking about meeting people with needs, meeting people and giving them the dignity that they deserve. Please help us to continue this wonderful program by calling 785-621-4110 if you can donate. If you can't and you can give us your prayers, that's where it all starts anyway. Please pray for us. Please pray for Catholic Charities. And let's get to a second trivia question. Here we go. All right. Some people I know are listening because they're like, I just want to answer the question. So get the phones ready. 785-621-4110. Here's your question. Where did Mary and Joseph find Jesus? Was it A, the temple, B, the synagogue, C, the market, D, Nazareth, E, in Mary's womb? No, I'm kidding. No, when I read that, I was like, that's kind of a funny question. So maybe I should say, when Jesus got lost, where did Mary and Joseph find Jesus? A, the temple, B, the synagogue, C, the market, D, Nazareth. Call 785-621-4110. We are on our fall carathon of light in the darkness. And this is one of those wonderful, beautiful ways that we are able to do it. You know, partnering with Catholic Charities here in being able to put out, hey, here's what we can do to lift people out of poverty, to lift them up and help them, you know, even in the poverty of their own dignity that maybe people have robbed from them. So thank you for listening. Please call, please support us, 785-621-4110, and let's get right back to this wonderful conversation. So, Jeree, what part do you have in, because it's not just like, oh, well, that's, you know, that's Megan's part, and I really don't get to do anything here. You know, like there's a big part that you play too in what we were just talking about. Can you let us know what that looks like on your side?
Yeah, well, I think us as an agency, we work together very well as a team, like building those relationships with these clients. I mean, I wouldn't be able to share the stories that we have if Melissa or, our other front desk staff aren't able to build those relationships with them, So I lean on them a lot, and I, thank them so much for their help because, they're working with the clients in and out, So like with that, when we were talking about like counseling, that's where I'm just like, I kind of sat there and I'm like, I'm not being like, and maybe in the front lines, with it. And a lot of people, like when I'm talking with the clients, are just like, I wish there was some way I could help. I wish there was some way that I could give back. And I kind of feel that too, because I'm like, well, I'm not up there physically helping them, But I've told them that I'm like, sharing your story might help somebody else, maybe give them the courage or the determination to know that they can do it too. They can get clean. Like maybe they're scared because they did find out that they're pregnant and they don't know where to start. And maybe we have those like resources there to help them. So I tell them like, if you're willing to share your story and, people will listen to that and they find that it's very valuable. And so that's where I'm like, that's probably my part, being able to share their stories too. So,
and you're not giving yourself enough credit because Jeree's sort of the coordinator of all the information that goes out. So she makes sure the outreach schedule gets posted correctly every week and every month, working with our teams. She answers Facebook messages from clients who are needing help and gets them connected with the right right people. So she's sort of that internal hub of all the spokes and making sure that all of the information that goes out to both our Catholic communities and all of our clients is accurate and correct. So
and yes, thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.
Well, also I think I would say that just for someone like myself, I check YouTube videos and stuff every now and then, and seeing something like this, especially during Advent, Christmas coming up, this can be one of those things that spurs people, because there isn't sometimes a lot of visual to for people to actually be like, oh wow, I had no idea. I mean, you can hear stats and things, and those are very much needed. We'll actually talk about some of those. But when you see things like Michael's story or something like that, and you're actually like, okay, so that's what I could help do. That may then spur people on to be like, let's go and help this out. Let's go adopt a family. Wow, that is fantastic. Real quick break here. I want to congratulate Cindy Lang, who is our trivia winner. So Cindy called 785-621-4110, and she answered the question, where did Mary and Joseph find Jesus? And that was when he got lost. They found him in the temple. So congratulations to Cindy. We'll get you put in that drawing for that $50 gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts, and we'll draw that winner at 6 o'clock. You're listening to our Fall Carathon Light in the Darkness. We do have that carathon goal of $125,000. We started off the day with around $28,000 in matching funds. We've been chipping away at them. Well, actually, once again, it's you that have been chipping away at them. I just get to talk and have wonderful conversations. So thank you for allowing me to do that. Please partner with us, pray for us, and if you can donate, 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. My mind went blank there for a second. Wait, I've said it so many times, but then sometimes you're like, 621-4110, or you can donate at dvmercy.com. So back to speaking with Jeree Hughbanks and Megan Robl. Okay, I think then the next thing that maybe we can look at is, as you're bringing people in, as you're offering services and stuff like that, it's good to know how this impact is being made. So how do you look at something like that? Is it just like a checkoff list? Do you have driving around to different communities? What do you do?
Oh, yes. So knowing what that impact is you nailed it. First and foremost, our geographic reach, because there's always a perception that the people that are closest to one of our offices, Manhattan, Salina, or Hayes, are getting the most service. But our services are available through our website. We have all of our, again, Jeree makes sure that all of our applications on our website are accurate and there, so that somebody miles away who may still have a smartphone or access to a public library can print off those applications, have access to the emails and phone numbers that they need, and we can do a lot of things virtually or over the phone. So we are always counting and tracking how many counties we serve. And we're actually very excited to say that in the last year, we touched at least one life in every single one of our 31 counties. And that has been a huge goal of ours the last 5 years, is to really expand that reach. So not only just that's one person that may be really far away from one of our offices that's accessing resources and their life is being touched. But then, of course, when we look at impact, I know Jeree brought some of our stats here. I mean, we just want to know that we're touching lives. So in the last year, we served over 3,500 individual households across our diocese, and that is made up of over 8,000 individual people. So even if the pregnant mom is the one receiving services, that's impacting in an indirect way everyone in her household. And we like to know that we're seeing new faces. So of those 3,500 households in the last year, 1,500 of them were new to us. They had never been to Catholic Charities before. So we're always seeing people, new faces, which is good and bad, but it means that we're not the same people are able, some of them are able to move on, get stable on their feet, and other people then are aware that we're here as a resource and able and willing to reach out, because asking for help is hard. So we want to be a place that people feel comfortable to do that. And then the other stat that we're really proud of is that 1,000 of the families that we served in the last year were served through outreach services. So they did not come into an office. They were reached through our outreach vans traveling to their community, or our pregnancy resource staff who travels to different communities to meet with moms. They'll do home visits, home porch drop-offs, whatever we can to really help make sure that people feel supported and that we're taking that little burden of travel off of them. But truly, and Jeree and I had a long conversation about this, so I'm going to pass it over to her. But our true success is, it's hard to put in a chart, because again, those people like Michael that come in to just update us on their life, you can't measure truly somebody's healing, somebody's joy. How do you put that on a graph or a spreadsheet? So it's really hard to quantify, but you know, for us, success is a family who didn't get evicted or have to live on the street, or a child that has a coat to wear to school.
They're fed.
They have food. They have. You've got a little guy. If he's got fresh, or a baby that has fresh diapers on their bottom. So just having those little things, it's hard to really portray the impact of that human dignity. I mean, a kid might be the only kid at school that doesn't have a coat. So it's not just being warm. It's about feeling that sense of belonging amongst their peers, or not feeling isolated and different. So just making sure that people have what they need. And on a scientific level, it's that human hierarchy of needs. So we're here to meet, like, you can't focus on moving up that hierarchy if you don't have food, shelter, clothing,
safety and security.
Safety. Yeah, you were a teacher. You know all about this. Safety and security, that self-esteem. And that's why we love Michael's story, because he really came in and had nothing. He had nothing. Yeah. And now he's up to a place where he's giving back. And actually, you should share about the laundry.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So Michael, through his journey, he actually went into a Laundry of Love event in Salina, where they were providing, money so that individuals could get their laundry paid for, And so he went into that event and to the laundromat, didn't even know it was going on though. And, an individual was in there, and because he was going to pay for his own laundry. And he went in there, and the individual was just like, hey, use that money right there on the machine. You can use that. And even if you don't use it for the laundry, just pocket it. It's fine. Like, it's free. It's to you. And he's like, no, I've got money. Like, I don't need that. That's for somebody else. They can use that. I've got a job. I need, you know, and so he is just like, that's why we just love it so much, because like, he's so proud, you know, of like that he came from nothing and he worked up and
transformed. Because Melissa always says old Michael probably would have taken the money.
Yes.
But he's proud to share, like, I didn't need that, and I'm not going to steal from someone else. So again, the impact is, yes, Michael got food and he got a job and he got stable housing, but the real impact is what that has done to him.
Okay.
And also we brought with us this little book that we made. I don't know.
You can actually hold it up right there. Yeah.
Because the work, I mean, we're telling all the beautiful parts. It's hard. Like, you hear hard things. You deal with people who are going through a lot of difficulty. So like we mentioned in the beginning of Michael's story, it wasn't a warm fuzzy in the beginning. And so sometimes our staff just needs to sit down and say, okay, like, why are we here? Yeah. So we put together a whole quote book of, there's no names in it, but just quotes of people who have received the help. So they may be pulled from stories that Jeree has gathered, but this helps us to know that, okay, maybe not every person feels this way right now or has the capacity to turn around and say thank you, but someday they'll remember and know, and we may never hear about that. But that's not the important part. These are the ones that just remind us, like, hey, this matters, and to this person it cared. So one of the quotes says, I was treated like a human being, like I was somebody. Without the resources and support of Catholic Charities, my family probably would have been homeless. Or it was my first time to have to ask for help, and it was much harder than I thought, but you made it easy and got me the help. So thank you very much. So this whole book is full of that. And again, that just helps remind us it's the numbers help us to know the trends, to help us to know physically, okay, where else do we need to be, and what are the gaps? What are we missing? But the voices of hope, the quotes really let us know that it's touching humans and changing their lives.
That is fantastic. Well, kind of sticking a little bit on that theme of difficult things, you know, what is maybe the most difficult thing, the biggest challenges that are facing Catholic Charities, and what are you guys doing to help address those? But also, what can the community do to help Catholic Charities in those manners?
Two things: geography and the fact that the need is, there's always more need than available resources that we have. We are so blessed. So I don't want to say, oh gosh, we don't have enough. We are able to do more than a lot of agencies, and we are so grateful to be able to do that. But there is always somebody out there that needs more financial assistance or more food, more diapers, more hygiene. And of course we have to think about the future. And so we can't just, we could run ourselves out of money in 2 months, you know, just providing for all the needs. So it's a very broad based thing, but the need is always greater than the resources. So what we always appreciate are people just thinking of those small things, like picking up a few extra groceries and dropping them off. Or even better, if you see your neighbor is struggling, help them. Like, we can't do it all. We have 20 staff serving 26,000 square miles. So that's 20 staff across 3 offices and doing all of this work we're talking about. And comparatively, that's pretty small group for the service area. So it takes all of us just looking around your community and saying, okay, this person needs help, so I'm going to drop off something on their door or share with them other resources like Catholic Charities if they don't know. But I think the biggest thing is understanding that we can't do it all by ourselves. It takes a community. So it's great to send people to Catholic Charities, but we can't. I mean, it sounds bad. We can't do everything. And we have a lot of resources and we try to use them wisely, but we can't do it all. The world is just overwhelmed with needs. So be a neighbor to whoever it is that you have.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that goes back to a previous point that you made, you know, of look somebody in the eyes. So because sometimes we do like, oh, okay, well, does Catholic Charities need diapers? Do they need money? They need clothes? I could probably go through I could give them that. And then, yeah,
Which
sometimes
we need those things
yeah,
too.
exactly. Which do that, but we do forget that, like, oh, is there anybody on my street that I have noticed sleeping in their car? Is there anybody that I could simply say, hey, tell me about your life? Like, because there are people struggling and all. So thank you so much for bringing that up, because sometimes we do have to be told, hey, dude, you can go out and help somebody without having to go to the organization.
Right.
It sounds crazy, but sometimes we need to hear that. And maybe that's where you come in too, is some of that social media piece that, look and see what they're doing. And you can also do some of those things on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Megan kind of mentioned even like our geographic reach, it is, 26,000 miles that, that we're trying to help people with, and that's a large area. And a lot of those places are rural. And knowing that I come from a small town, I know how far it is to get to more resources, like it is an hour to get to Hayes, 40 minutes to get to Colby. Those are some of like the close, bigger cities and stuff. But, so that there's a need for us to meet people where they are. And that's how we can do that with our outreach, and, hopefully maybe we can expand locations and stuff. And I don't, if Megan wants to talk more on that, but, and we're hoping to like even expand more outreach locations as well, so that we can hit, every county more in, where we serve. So
okay, you are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. If you would like to partner with us, please call 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. We do have plenty of those matching funds left, so let's use those up. They're given to us by donors who believe in the mission of Divine Mercy Radio, the mission of proclaiming the gospel. Please help us to continue doing that. Call 785-621-4110, and let's use up those funds today. All right, let's get straight back to our discussion with Jeree and Megan. And I think, we've got about 8 minutes left here, 7 to 8 minutes. So maybe we can throw a couple things together and go, one, how do you partner with local parishes? And then what are priorities for you guys going forward?
Yeah. Jeree, do you want to talk about how we partner with parishes?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing, when we just talked about our outreach locations, majority of our outreach locations take place in the parish's parking lots, so we've had to build that relationship up with them. We also invite them to have, Lenten food drives with us, hygiene drives, any other kind of diaper drives, anything like that. We also will go to parishes, and if they're wanting to learn more about us, so that we can provide those resources to their parishioners, to their community members and everything like that. We do parish visits and parish presentations for them, so they can learn more about us.
Wonderful.
And I feel like, and we also, like, they are very active in, relaying our message of our annual campaign. When they'll play our message from Bishop for us, and also they are very active in our baby bottle campaigns, which supports our pregnancy program. So yeah, we're very active with the parishes.
And building on those parish visits, which are super fun ways just to connect with the communities and answer their questions. Some of our priorities are to continue to focus. Our diocese is so rural, as we know. And, our farthest west office is here in Hayes. But when you think about how much farther there is to go, our outreach staff member here in Hayes travels as far as Colby and Atwood, Oberlin. So she's putting on the miles. So as we look to the future, our goal is to continue expansion wherever we're called to do that. So dare I actively put this out there in the world, but we are discerning opportunities to open potential offices down the road in Colby and Concordia, because we have a dream that everybody in our diocese could be within an hour or less of a Catholic Charities office. Because if you think about healthcare, it's kind of the same thing. You need an emergency room. you might have to drive a little bit, but driving 2 or 3 hours just isn't always an option. So when you have that proximity, people then have a place that they know they can go to. And we think about when the tornado hit in Grinnell earlier this year. We were doing a lot of driving and grateful to be in a position to help and do that and help the local community. But if we would have had a closer location, that could have been our anchor for getting things there even faster and being more a part of that. So our goal is just to continue to expand that footprint and really solidify our commitment to those smaller rural communities where there are fewer resources for people who are struggling. So even if someone has to drive 20 or 30 minutes, it's still better than 2 or 3 hours. And then we just want to continue to build those relationships with people across the diocese. You'd be shocked how many times people actually have no idea what Catholic Charities has to offer. And so it's just important that we all know, not that we ever want to think like this, but everyone is just 1 or 2 steps away from possibly needing help. You know, we've met people that have received very serious health diagnosis and they've suffered with family members passing away. So that can hit any of us, which again can really change the trajectory of your path. And you could land in a position where you need help. And we hear from people who say, I never thought I was going to have to be the person asking for help. And here I am. So it's just important that everyone knows that this resource exists. So we are just going to continue to get out into the world and out into our diocese and make sure that people feel really connected.
Okay. So Jeree, if people want to get a hold of you, where should they look to? Where can they get information?
Yeah, well, all of our information is on our website, ccnks.org. And you can call any of our offices in Hayes, Manhattan, or Salina. Of course, I'm going to blank on our phone number.
785-825-0208. That's the lineup, but we have a very cool phone system. So we'll get you connected to the right office that you need.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, ladies, thank you so much. It's a blessing for what you're doing for all of our communities. It's a blessing to have you in here today. And we'll be praying for you guys to have that success. And also for all those people to be upheld in what they need.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
God bless. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
We are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon Light in the Darkness. Had a wonderful, wonderful conversation with Megan Robl and Jeree Hughbanks on Catholic Charities and all of their outreach and what they do. It was absolutely amazing. Once again, if you want to find those, you can find them when they get posted on YouTube. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. So if you are at home and you don't want to just listen on the radio, you can turn it on and watch us in studio, see what we are doing. We're going to go ahead and get Michael in here. Michael's going to give you guys an update on a few things, and then we're going to come right back with another heavy hitter. We've got Father Brian Lager coming in the studio. So be ready to not turn the dial. Stay where you're at. Keep watching live, whatever you're doing, and we will be back here in a little bit after